Mike Santana cuts a promo that is passionate, personal. He talks about his drug problem. He talks about how his daughter is the only thing that got him to this point where he felt like he hit the top, where he became World Heavyweight Champion, and all of it was snatched out from underneath him, with Frankie Kazarian beating him after cashing in his call his shot opportunity. When Kaz captured it after the NXT guys blindsided and beat him down in the ring, and Frankie Kazarian basically stole one. I thought it was great storytelling on TNA's part. Kaz as a heel did the heelish thing, took advantage of the situation, and capitalized. Was Kaz in on it? They're leaning towards the fact that he wasn't, but he just took advantage of the situation. But the promo by Mike Santana was awesome. The big thing coming out of this is that Kaz, that Frankie, ugh, the big thing coming out of this is that Mike Santana said he's coming for Kaz, and he'll be coming for Frankie Kazarian, which is Kaz, by the way. He'll be coming for Kaz, and he'll be coming for his world title. But before he does that, he'll be chopping the block one by one. He'll be taking out each and every NXT guy. And that brings me to the incredible promo that the NXT guys that jumped him, they cut a promo on him on this episode of Impact. Their promo was phenomenal. Each one of the guys that jumped him got promo time. They each cut a promo. And most importantly, Charlie Dempsey, who tried to break Mike Santana's arm, cut a promo saying, "Hey, how's your arm doing?" Just being smart aleck. How's your arm doing? It came across as just cutting edge. It was really, really drove the point home. And then they announced that Charlie Dempsey will be facing Mike Santana at Final Resolution. They also announced that Robert Stone will be facing Mike Santana next week on Impact. So there's going to be two NXT guys coming up on Mike Santana's hit list. And obviously, one would believe that he's going to mow through both of them. But this will build him tremendously when he goes at Frankie Kazarian, which I believe will be at Genesis in January. When Mike Santana gets to Genesis and is going to be fired up and ready to go, will most likely beat Frankie Kazarian at Genesis. It's going to be fucking awesome. Mike Santana will become a two-time World Heavyweight Champion, and that in itself will be fucking phenomenal. I personally like how the storytelling has went. I think it shows that Mike Santana's struggle is real, and that Mike Santana has to overcome the odds time and time again. But ultimately, it shows that he will overcome the odds time and time again. Mike Santana does what only he can do, and that's overcome the odds no matter what is put in front of him. He defeats everything that's put in front of him. Mike Santana will prevail. That's the story that's getting told. I think it's getting told tremendously. Also, they do a skit with Rick Swann showing respect for Leon Slater, but AJ Francis not showing much respect at all. AJ Francis and Leon Slater get into it. This was an awesome exchange for the first time these two characters intermingled with each other, and they're setting up for Leon Slater versus AJ Francis at Final Resolution. That will be phenomenal when we look back at what AJ Francis what Leon Slater did with Moose, where he had a bigger opponent when he faced Moose. That was a tremendous match. I expect the same type of tremendous match with Leon Slater versus AJ Francis that we got with Leon Slater versus Moose. Tremendous expectations for this. I expect it to be off the chain awesome match of the night candidate. Match of the night candidate is something you can say about any match that involves Leon Slater, as we've seen with his match with Rick Swann at Turning Point and his match at Bound for Glory with Evans. This guy, Leon Slater, you can put him in the ring with anybody and he's going to have your match of the night. I watch TNA on the TNA Plus app, And during the commercial breaks, they featured many classic matches from TNA's past during the commercial break. Uh, Notably, the iconic match between Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian. Also, that was the iconic match. I talk about it all the time on my videos. Frankie Kazarian versus Kaz. Kaz should have won the world title after that tournament because that was the end of a tournament. And Kaz won the tournament, but ultimately lost his world title shot. But I think he should have won back then and been a world champion back then. But he wasn't. But he is now, and thank God for that. And Christian Cage versus Jeff Jarrett. They were obviously displaying Christian Cage a lot during the commercial breaks with classic matches with Christian Cage. But I think there was just a big fuck you to AEW. That's what I got out of this. And if that didn't send the big fuck you to AEW enough, how about this one? They showed Frankie Kazarian beating Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is in the AEW World Title picture in AEW, and Kaz is the TNA World Champion. So they showed the TNA World Champion beating Samoa Joe. This was a big fuck you to AEW. I thought it was pretty funny, and I got the joke. Continue to build Danny Luna versus Indy Hartwell. This match is obviously going to probably blow off at TNA Genesis, but they continue to build this, and they're doing a good job at that. Slow build, I think it will ultimately develop into some kind of big gimmick match at Genesis. Hartwell will face Brookside. The winner gets a knockout title shot. I'll go ahead and give you the spoiler. Brookside's going to win this one, and she'll go on to Final Resolution to face for Lee, who will win on NXT next week. And another spoiler there, but Lee's going to win the TNA Knockout title, and she'll face Brookside at the pay-per-view. And if I could read the future, I will say Lee will retain the title at Final Resolution and will ultimately face Indy Hartwell at Genesis. That's just me guessing, but that's what I think is going to happen. But while we're talking about Final Resolution, we'll talk about the Inspiration is going to face Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford. Man, I really hope they put the titles on Tessa Blanchard, the tag team titles on Tessa Blanchard. She truly deserves it. I thought they were going to do it at Turning Point. I hope they do it at this pay-per-view. I know that she was injured. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. But I truly hope that they put the tag team titles on Tessa Blanchard and Crawford. Already touched on this one, but I'll touch on it again. Leon Slater is going to face AJ Francis in a single match for the X Division Championship. This it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. Leon Slater knows how to make these matches awesome when it's a little guy, him versus a big guy. He knows how to make these. He did it with Moose. He knows how to make this a great match. This is definitely a match of the night candidate. A lot of storylines were put into this one. JDC for the world title versus Frankie Kazarian. JDC is not going to win this match. I don't see any reason why JDC should win this match, but it could definitely it could have a cloudy finish, maybe not even the main event. Um, I don't know what they're going to do in this angle, but Frankie Kazarian needs to get the W here and continue the feud with Mike Santana. JDC does not need the world title. Um, there's no reason that would make sense. He's retiring. Um, I do appreciate the storytelling in this. Uh, I really kind of wish it was JDC's last match because that would seem to make the most sense if he could retire after getting the world title shot and coming up short and retire. But well, because I know he's supposed to retire at Genesis, so somehow they're going to try to take this all the way to Genesis. JDC is gonna have a close call or a smoky finish, a dusty finish, as they say. But I'm not sure what they're gonna do here. But again, that's why I love TNA because they always keep you guessing. And then we have Tyson Duffy, uh, Tyson DuPont McIntyre and Eagle. These are two NXT guys. They're going to be facing the Hardys. They're going to be facing the Hardys. You know what? This is for the TNA Tag Team titles. I kind of would like the NXT guys to get the win here because I think it would be great for shock value and it would give them credibility if they were to win the the TNA Tag Team titles. I know a lot of people are like, you're putting it on a couple of jobbers, but I kind of think that would be the way to go here. The Hardys wouldn't lose. They have the name. They don't need to be champions. And this would instantly make these guys players. So if you're trying to make the NXT guys come across as players, then winning the tag team titles here would be the quickest way to do that. I really think that would be the way to go. Not that I think that is the way TNA will go. I just think that that'd be a quick way to make the NXT guys establish as credible threats. And I've already touched on Charlie Dempsey versus Mike Santana at Final Resolution. Obviously, Mike Santana has to win this match. It continues his story that he's going through the NXT guys to get to Frankie Kazarian. He has to win this match. I don't see any way you could book this where he doesn't win this match that it would make sense. He has to win this match. Mike Santana will go over clean here. And Mance Warner versus Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona recently appeared on WWE SmackDown, so he's coming off a pretty big. He's coming off, he's got a pump to him because he was on SmackDown. But Mance Warner, I think, should win this match. This is going to be a street fight, so it makes me lead to believe that Matt Cardona is going to win because they're building him as the king of the death match. These two guys know about death matches on the independent circuit. If they could really have a violent match, that could be worth watching. And this could definitely be something worth watching. I really think this could be high impact, thumbtacks, glass. I hope they don't go too far. Because sometimes you see the stuff in AEW, it just is not worth watching anymore because it crosses the line. Where it's like, what are they going to pull out a gun next? Well, just keep it in the realm of pro wrestling. And finally, in our NXT versus TNA feud, Channing Stacks Lorenzo versus Steve Maclin. Steve Maclin has to win this match. This continues the NXT feud. The feud is getting hotter than ever in between NXT and TNA. As we move forward to TNA getting its biggest TV deal in company history, rumors are running rampant that they have a deal with AMC, if that is true, or even the CW network. If either one of those are true, I hope it's AMC, to be honest. But either way, it's going to be huge for TNA. And as we get closer to that deal, we're going to see major implications because of what we're seeing with NXT and TNA. Mike Santana is leading the charge. Frankie Kazarian is a big piece of that puzzle. I think TNA is great right now. I think all the stories are hyped up, and they're all at the boiling point where they're advancing, and they will come to the top at TNA Genesis in January, when TNA is most likely going to be on their national platform, their biggest platform in company history. Because if they're on AMC, that will be bigger than Spike TV. That will be huge. AMC had The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul, three of the most successful television shows ever, 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 ever. Three of the most successful television shows. AMC has the checkbook to make TNA a major player in the wrestling business, and I really hope that what I'm dreaming of happens. I really hope that we see TNA change the game forever. Mike Santana can be the guy who leads TNA into the brightest era of TNA's existence. As I do think that they can surpass what they did on Spike TV. I think they can surpass everything they've ever done in their company's history. I think they'll continue to set attendance records. Slammiversary and Bound for Glory was just a glimpse of the success that TNA can have. I think that with wrestling the way it is today, with AEW on the verge of losing their television deal because of the merger with Netflix buying Warner Brothers. I truly think we are in a great, great time to be a TNA wrestling fan. So strap on your seatbelt and get ready to ride the ride because we're just climbing the top of the roller coaster and we're ready for the big drop of adrenaline. Adrenaline rush, adrenaline rush. Ah, time to cross the line. We are wrestling. Putting all the catchphrases in. I'm Ken Jones. I'm signing off. Y'all be good now.